I'm very proud to be representing this part of Arlington now in the state senate. Many of you know me from my years on the county board, 14 years on the county board, and you know, all politics is local, so I still talk about local issues and state issues and all kinds of issues. I'm going to take a brief moment to introduce some of the special people who are with us, although you're all very special. Thank you all for coming out. But I just want to acknowledge some people who are here who you may want to talk to about certain things. And I will start with the Vice Mayor of Alexandria, Carrie Donnelly. Carrie, thank you for being here. And I believe Justin Wilson's here. Thank you. And then closer to home, I have Delegate Alfonso Lopez. And here, Delegate Bob Brink. And I know Margot Horner is here, who is the chair of our 8th Congressional Democratic Committee. Margot. And for all of you who have ever volunteered or rolled up your sleeves for a campaign, raise your hand. We want to applaud you. Thank you very much. As politicians, we know that elections really aren't about us. They're about you and your values. And I just want to say to you, you could not have selected a better candidate to represent us in Congress than Don Beyer. He's a terrific person, which actually matters a lot if you've been reading the paper these days. We have no worries about Don's character and his integrity. But for the added benefit, you know, Don really understands who we are. He understands our values. He knows that we care about equality for the LGBT community. He will fight tooth and nail to ensure that women's health will be protected and women's privacy to abortions and other health care options really will be, the constitutionally protected privacies that we've earned over the years will be protected. He's been very good on gun safety issues, and those link very strongly with domestic violence. And I'm really looking forward to having our next congressman as such a strong partner in that area. And also, what's near and dear to many of our hearts is Don is committed to understanding better climate change and to taking steps that will really leave us with a much greener environment as we pass it on to future generations. I think that's really terrific. Climate change is a tough issue. Not many people understand it, not many people want to understand it, and fewer people want to do something about it. But we will elect a person who will be a leader on that issue. So without further ado, I'm going to turn the microphone over to our good friend, our dear leader, and our next congressman, Don Beyer.
Good morning. Good morning, good morning. What a beautiful, magnificent good morning. And thank you for coming together. Families, children, dogs, ice cream, political leaders, to celebrate another turning point on the road to a stronger America. On this perfect Saturday morning, aren't we lucky to be Americans and Virginians? And shouldn't we be grateful for all that we have? And mustn't we take responsibility for taking back our country and making a stronger America? I am so thankful to the myriad strong, brave, generous people who have stepped forward to help, and not just to win an election, but to help our country. So thank you, Barbara Favola, who led Arlington and now must manage the easy General Assembly in Virginia. And thank you, Tyrone Sims, a West Point graduate like my dad, who will help our ideas and solutions teams find the best way forwards. And thank you, Keely, for letting the dogs out. And Jim Morania was a great champion for animal rights, and I promise to be too. And thank you, Charnel Herring, our delegate, our former state party chair, the leader of the powerful women for Beyer, and just thank you, Charnel. Barbara said it well, there's so many important people here, but I do want to recognize 5 more quickly. Delegate David Brickley, with whom I served for many years. Ambassador Jerry McGowan, Ambassador of Portugal, who talked Megan and me into going to Switzerland. My good friend Derek Hyra, who was part of and along with Alfonso and Charnel, made me a much better candidate, which I really appreciate. And I would also like to, Clarence Tong, who is the chair of the Alexandria Democratic Committee, a very important part of the issue. And last and smallest but not least, my granddaughter Ava, wherever she is. Proven, principled, progressive. This has been my message all year and will continue to be. More than 40 years leading the family business right here in Northern Virginia. 8 years as Lieutenant Governor, 4 years overseas as Ambassador. Megan and I have spent our lives getting ready for this responsibility. And we will be principled about the issues before us. Just because the primary is over doesn't mean any change. We're going to continue to talk strongly about the need for a national carbon tax to be the first step in offsetting global warming. We will make thoughtful, innovative, important investments in infrastructures, in teachers, and in academic rigor to create the jobs of a renewed middle class. We can enact important gun safety measures, from universal background checks to magazine capacities, which will make our communities safer. We will fight to expand women's health care options, especially by making Obamacare even better and in covering the 20 million Americans not yet with health insurance. We will find a path first to security and then to citizenship for the many new Americans who are the energy of our economy. And we will be proud of our marriage equality, and we will work towards racial healing. But I do have 3 things to ask of you this morning. Many of you probably saw Dana Milbank's piece 2 or 3 days ago in the op-ed pages of the Post about how the majority of America think the country's on the wrong track. Well, I ask you, please be relentlessly optimistic. Pessimists never change the world for the better. Sure, there is much to grieve about, from Robin Williams to Ferguson to Syria, from the children on our border to the poor Virginians without health insurance. But we must never allow our energy and enthusiasm and commitment to wane. Nelson Mandela said of pessimism, that way lays defeat and death. Every challenge that provokes our anger or our tears must also provoke our determination to do something about it. Please be optimistic with me every day. It does not seem much use to be anything else, said Churchill. Second, help Megan and me to be accessible. The world works by invitation. We come after Jim Moran, who is as accessible as any politician ever. And we want to be deeply connected to all that happens in the 8th District. True partners with every one of you in leadership and in progress. And third, hey, let's campaign. If anyone tells you that this race is a foregone conclusion, tell them to go to hell. And just remind them about Eric Camden. I won't bore you with example after example of political leaders that had 30-point leads on the 4th of July and ended up losing on November 4th. So with more than 100,000 Northern Virginia voters came out to vote for Terry McAuliffe last year and didn't vote in the last off-year election in 2010. That's 100,000 people that we have to knock on their doors, call them up, get them to sign pledge cards, do everything we possibly can. Alice, the field director, Mark Warner's political director, is nodding her head over there. It's really, really important. And we have to welcome them as they get off the orange, silver, blue, yellow lines. We have to cost them at every farmer's market. We can leave no voter unturned. This is how we elect Rip Sullivan next Tuesday. This is how This is how Alan Howes and Barbara Cannonen and Nancy Van Dorn and Carla De La Pava and some guy named Mark Warner all went on November 4th. We need volunteers for voter contact. We need folks who will put up signs again and again and again. And we need givers too, because campaigns aren't free. We need you, optimistic, accessible, and generous, and proven, principled, and progressive. Let's go around the 8th in 80 days, and let's do our best to change the world.